It's Josh Shron at Israel Hour Radio, and I am so thrilled to speak to our next guest. This is not his first time on our show. We've spoken to Idan Raichel a few times over the years, but not since 2016, and he is coming back to the United States this November. Cannot wait to see Idan Raichel and the entire Idan Raichel project, and thrilled to talk to him once again to find out about what's coming up. So Idan Raichel, welcome back to Israel Hour Radio.
Thank you for having me, and great to hear you.
You're always such an interesting person to talk to because the music is amazing, but the stories behind the songs and all that's going on in your life is always so fascinating. Forgive me, I haven't spoken to you in a few years, not since 2016, and a lot has happened since then in your life, in your career, and in the entire world. So forgive me if I go back just a little bit, but I need to go back to 2019 when you were partially responsible for Shevet Achim VaAchayot. I'm sure you've talked about it 3 million times since then, but never to me. So tell me, how did that song come about, and did you ever expect it to be the incredible phenomenon that it became?
Shevet Achim VaAchayot, the big tribe of brothers and sisters, was created because we have continuous elections. Every government here is holding only for between 12 till 18 months. And we felt that the hostile almost environment between the parties, the right and the left, is starting affecting the population, the civils, the atmosphere in the streets. And I think that the biggest challenge of us as a society in Israel, more than even our challenges in front of dealing with Iran and our enemies or neighbors across the borders, the biggest challenge and the most important challenge for us is to stick together, because our strength and our power is always when we are together. Together, by the way, not only the people that are living in Israel, but all our community diaspora that is supporting our life here. So Shevet Achim VaAchayot was kind of we are the world of Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie back in the days. So to have it something like that, very uplifting for the Independence Day. So it was a fun thing to do.
Well, I don't know if it united Israeli society, because here we are with another election just a few days away, but it sure made everybody feel great. Were you surprised by the success of that song?
It depends how do you define success. For the song got a huge hug. When for those of the listeners who are not familiar with the song, it's kind of a song that many tens of dozens of singers are singing all together. Each one of them is singing like one phrase, and we were mostly surprised by the cover versions that this song got. Like after a week or two, kids in kindergartens make their own version, 4 years old, 5 years old kids making their own version, nurses and health teams that were fighting the COVID making their own version. The police departments in Israel made their own version. It was also one of the most known sentences from the song. It means "Kan ze bayit, kan ze lev." Here it's my home, here it's my heart. And there was a very exciting and moving version from Ethiopian Jews that are still stuck more or less in the refugees camps in Ethiopia. They sang in their version "Sham ze bayit, sham ze lev." Over there it's our heart, over there it's our home. So it was a very moving version. And yes, I do think that songs like that can just can send us a little blink. It's a kind of a notice to remember what is important. After all, to stick together.
I haven't heard that Ethiopian version, but I'm surprised because I think I've seen most of the ones that you mentioned. But I'm just definitely going to check it out right after I'm done with you. That sounds really, really cool. Let's move on to 2020, and you were partially responsible for the song that was supposed to represent Israel in the Eurovision in 2020, sung by Idan Raichel, Feker Libi. What an amazing song, and I know so many of us were really disappointed that song didn't actually compete in the Eurovision, which was canceled in 2020. You think it would have done pretty well if it had been able to compete?
Indeed, I definitely think that it could have done. They're always like people are betting on the songs, and the song got a lot of bets. For as the number one. Feker Libi, Love of My Heart, was sang by Eden Elena, and I composed this song with Doron Medali, the same partner that I composed Shevet Achim VaAchayot.
Right.
And it was important for us to bring the Israeli strong female voice, and also to bring the new age Israeli female that is. She's Israeli, and she remember and acknowledge her heritage. So I thought it was beautiful version by Eden Elena, and I thought it could have done great even without winning the number one. Just as a message to the world how this is a beautiful society and the beauty of the inner beauty of our ladies here in Israel.
And I guess that's a good point because many of us were very, very disappointed that the song didn't actually compete. But the truth is the world did get to hear it, and the world did get to see the power of Eden Elena and the multiculturalism of Israel. And I really hadn't thought of it that way because we were all so upset and so bummed that we felt many of us felt the song they chose for her for the next year wasn't quite up to, didn't have the same impact. Very interesting.
Yes, we are responsible, for everything that we are releasing outside. We are responsible for the message that we are bringing. And when especially when we are representing our country, it is important that we not just participating in the Eurovision. We are participating and we are becoming kind of an ambassadors even for one night for our beloved country.
I love the way you think, and I think you need to be involved in the next song that Israel brings to the Eurovision Song Contest.
Hopefully, yes.
Well, so now we're still in 2020, and of course, we have a global pandemic. Coronavirus hit, and I know many of my listeners were thrilled that you were very active during coronavirus, going online and bringing live streams to the world. Tell me about that time for you and what it meant for you personally and for your career.
It was one of the most busiest times for us because we had a responsibility also for our audience in Israel, also for our fans around the world, but also for our community, even people that didn't know our music. And we did online concerts for the health teams, nurses and doctors that were fighting the COVID 24/7. So we gave them some artistic and entertainment cultural break. We did for the army. Concerts online. We did for Keren HaYesod and ההסתדרות הציונית. It was important for קרן קיימת לישראל. Although in one hand we were in quarantine and we were separated from each other, but it was a good opportunity to strengthen up everyone and to feel that no one is really staying alone and by herself, and we are just sticking together.
And that concert that you did on Yom Ha'atzmaut for in the park with so many band members and the entire Idan Raichel project was one of the most incredible things that I think many of us have ever seen. A real concert experience unlike anything else. How was that for you?
We took a park and we kept the social distance that was required, and the band was like, with her, we opened like two big circles, and you can actually watch this concert online on YouTube. But for those of you who will not find it on YouTube, you can direct message me on Instagram, and I'll send you the links. And it's Idan, my name Idan, Idan, and Raichel is like Rachel with I, Raichel. So you can DM me, and yeah, it was a beautiful concert. It was a great opportunity to play in Yom Ha'atzmaut because in Israel, you know, in the Independence Day in Yom Ha'atzmaut, everyone is going out to the parks and listening to bands and stuff. But everyone was quarantined, so we decided to just to broadcast to all Israel live concert for free on the most watched commercial TV, channel 12, Keshet, and it was just beautiful. And I'm, as you mentioned, now even now for 3 years, we're still getting response for this beautiful concert.
It really was. So now we are back to business, and we'll talk about your U.S. tour in a second. I want to ask you, when you sit down to write a song, and you're responsible for so many amazing songs over the years for yourself, for others, tell me about your creative process. What does it look like when Idan Raichel sits down and sets out to create something new?
So I have to say that I have to be honest that I'm mostly inspired by people, and it's not that I'm having, you know, this new generation has a lot of what you call writing sessions, that you come sit together and you sit and it became kind of a working process, which is, you know, the most known songs of the world were created like that. But somehow I'm less, I feel less connected to this way, and I'm just writing when I'm inspired, and sometimes it happens, sometimes not. Sometimes I can write something very fast, and sometimes it takes a month. So I'm mostly inspired by, you know, it can be a documentary, it can be a conversation, and then just I'm kind of rewriting it in my own way. And it can be very simple songs, you know. Sometimes it's just a thought, like Bowie, one of our not most known songs. It's only 8 sentences or 4 sentences. It's very, very simple. Shevet Achim VaAchayot, scraps of lives. It's almost like a note in your phone. And it just becomes a song, but it's not with a lot of it's not even in a form of song of verses and choruses and stuff. It's just what it is. So sometimes it's just what it is. So I have to say that you know, sometimes they offer me every year to come to become a mentor in one of the, you know, Israeli Idol, like our version for American Idol, or The Voice. But I always tell them that I don't feel that I can really be a mentor. It's not that I'll just tell people, just sing and do it in your way. So at least after many years you can say, like Frank Sinatra, you can say, I did it my way. But it's not that I can give them any tip or any, yeah.
Well, let me ask you, in addition to that, you've always written a lot of songs for others, from the first days of the Idan Raichel project, and even now you're collaborating with Margalit Sinani and Ayal Golan and Zahava Ben, so many others. When you do you write songs with these other artists in mind, or is it a song that you just have and you say, oh, you know, maybe we can share? How do these collaborations come to be?
You can compare it to a work of a film, that, you know, you write the script, or a book that becomes a script, and then you start a casting process of who will be the right, who would you assume that will be the right singer or the right actor for this scene. And I have to admit that, sometimes I really wanted to sing those songs by myself, but I had to be honest with myself that there are better actors who could have sang this song. And sometimes, like directors, like great directors like Spike Lee or Woody Allen, I play one of the roles by myself, or I sing, but so it's kind of a working process. There are film directors and script writers that are writing, and they have the role, the actors already in their minds who will act. But I mostly write without thinking who will be the singer, and I just wait until the right casting there will be a good match with so that's basically what it is.
And every so often you'll surprise us by taking a song of yours that somebody else sang, and then you'll come on YouTube and sing that song yourself, bringing a whole new dimension to it. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's something that I didn't. Sometimes it's almost like beyond the scene, just to share. Just to share with the listeners and people that are subscribing to my channel and are interested on the kind of the original way of how I sang it in the studio before it was recorded. So people subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then I share the kind of versions that are it's like how the song was written in my studio. It's kind of a nice way to show and to share. Sometimes it's interesting to see how the song started before it was produced and or sang by different singers. Yes.
Well, I think it's great. Let's talk a little bit about your upcoming tour. The last time we saw you here in the United States, I think you were on tour solo. It was just you and your piano, and I think this time is going to be, from what I'm understanding, a very different concert. You're going to be in Palo Alto on November 12th, Los Angeles on November 13th, November 17th in Brooklyn, New York. Hope to be at that one myself. And November 19th in Boston. Tell me what you have in store for this upcoming U.S. tour.
So we are very excited for this, because we haven't been with a big band with a band. We are like 15 people on stage and another 4 or 5 crew members. It's a big party that is like going on the road. We haven't been together on stage for many years already. We visited one private event for the IAC in Miami recently, but other than that, we haven't toured for a long time. I was touring also back in the days. I was touring a lot with this band, and then I started to tour with a Grammy Award-winning India RE for 2 years, and then with West African virtuoso guitar player Feker Libi, and then I started piano solo, and with Andreas Scholl, the opera singer. So it was different bands and different formats, and then I really missed the band. And it's fun because you were just mentioning the band that did so great at the Quarantine Park concert. Right. So it's actually the same band that we decided to. I checked the availability of everyone, and we just putting up the same band that everyone loved from this park concert, and we're bringing them all to Palo Alto, to LA, to New York, and to Boston. And I think it's definitely going to be pure fun.
I think it is, and if anyone is interested in going to see the Idan Raichel project, all the information you need to know is on our website, myisraelimusic.com. That's myisraelimusic.com, and you just got me very excited, because if it's anything like that great Yom HaAtzmaut concert, then we are in for a real treat. And by the way, I need to tell you that when I told my listeners that I was talking to you, of course, course, instantly I got these messages. Hey, he needs to come to Atlanta. He needs to come to Philadelphia. He needs to come to Arizona. I know that COVID is just behind us and things are just starting to get back to normal. But do you have anything you can tell the people who might live further away from these big cities?
So I'll give you, you know what? I'll give you a tip to all the listeners that are interested. I have 4 kids. One is 8 years old, 7 years old, and I have twins that are 18 months.
Wow.
So I haven't slept for 18 months. So just call me and I'm coming. I'll be happy to take flights and just to sleep over and just to be jet lagged and just to be sleeping all over. So every one of you, let's say that you're in Atlanta, in Texas, in Milwaukee, whatever, get your community, book us, and I'm even upcoming piano solo. Just save me. Thank you.
Just so you can sleep in a hotel for a few nights and get a good night's sleep.
Just tell me when you're available, get me a flight, and I'm coming. We'll make it very easy. Yeah.
Idan, you're always reinventing yourself. Every time we talk to you, you're doing something new and different. Can you tell me a little bit about what might be for the future of Idan Raichel and the Idan Raichel project?
So for the very near future. It's this night. This night I'm gonna be giving bottles to drink milk for my twins. This is the very near future. We just talked about it. And for the long run, I guess that maybe we'll start tour again. We haven't been. It's been a while since I've been on the road, so I'll be very happy to come back and to meet our community and music lovers from all over the world, and just contact us, and I'll be there.
And before I let you go, one of my listeners just told me yesterday that they heard that I know this is a long time ago already, but that your wife made you cut your hair. Is that a true story?
Yes, I'm around 8 years ago when she was like 5 months pregnant with our first baby. We decided it was her decision just to get rid of the dreadlocks we were visiting Vienna, her hometown, Vienna, Austria. She bought this, I don't know how you call it, this machine, this haircut machine, right? She just how do you say it in English? Haircut machine?
Yeah, a shaver, an electric shaver.
Yeah, electric shaver. So she just bought an electric shaver, plugged it in, and she just shaved it. It was no conversation about it. Said, okay, done.
Do you miss it?
Yeah. No, I have to say no. One time in the past 8 years, I dreamt about it, that I have it back again, which maybe you can assume that it's maybe like missing it. But only one time I dreamt about it. Other than that, I didn't miss it. No.
Well, we love you no matter how you look, and it is so great to talk to you and to get reconnect with you and to find out what's going on in your world, and because your world is just so interesting, and you bring joy to so many people. We cannot wait to see you all around the United States, and thank you so much for joining us here on Israel Hour Radio.
So thank you really for supporting my music and to have this interview and supporting our upcoming tour and to give me, this precious time of yours. So thank you, and for all the listeners, and I hope to see you very soon.